Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here, and we're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. Getting straight into it, the character challenge is for John Stewart Green Lantern, and that is a 1 week repeat. The required characters are Nightwing, a full regime team, and Doomsday. So Nightwing is bronze, Doomsday silver, and for a full regime team, you need at least 1 silver, because there's bronze Catwoman and bronze Solomon Grundy, and then you need somebody else from silver tier. So this is...
To make the regime, yeah.
Yeah, this is a weird setup.
It's weird. It's sort of a weird requirements for a weird character, but we can get into that a little bit later.
And it's a little harder than it normally is.
Yeah.
For how low the tiers are,
right?
Ostensibly, it's much more challenging. So his passive is Emergency Barrier, which is when a Green Lantern or a teammate reaches 20% health, a barrier appears, making that character invulnerable for 4 seconds. This can occur once per character, per match. He has 750 base attack and 950 base health.
So I feel like, what's weird is because he was one of the original ones on iOS that was a challenge. It wasn't on Android because the iOS version came out before Android. And I'm taking a quick look around because this is before we kept track of this kind of stuff. It looks like he was last available in a challenge in January 2017. So almost...
It's been a long time.
Yeah, almost 4 years, 3.5 years for sure. So his stats are low. And it's interesting, right? So low stats means he's usually not going to be that good, just as a starting point, only because it's not that by itself is bad, but then the passive is not great. So here's the thing. Barrier is really good, but it's like a poor man's Astro Harness. You only get it once instead of 3 times, and it only lasts 4 seconds instead of 5 seconds. And it takes an entire slaughter on your team to get this.
Yeah, so it's a good passive, but it's still only a 1-part passive. Whereas as characters got newer, they'd have good passives and they'd have multi-part where all of them are good.
Yeah. I think that the best use case, because I gotta admit, I don't play him a lot. The best use case is probably with Rebirth Jessica Cruz, because her passive means that using John Stewart increases the power of her special 2 in addition to John Stewart giving her that moment of invulnerability. The other actually interesting case that's not as useful now, there was a time when Red Lantern Hal Jordan, when he was invulnerable,
he could just hammer specials.
He could hammer supers. And because the time in the game that the super took to sort of, what's the word, finish the whole process?
Use, activate, spend, I don't know, whatever.
You could do it enough times. I mean, I don't know if it was infinite, but you could do it enough times that you'd knock the other team out easily.
Yeah, you could win.
Yeah.
So
in this case, I think I generally avoid augmenting anything except for crit chance and crit damage, but you could make a good argument that he should be the exception because that makes him a much more useful teammate.
And it's, his passive is still pretty good.
It's interesting for sure. Yeah.
Yep. This week's multiplayer reward is, as expected, the Mysterious Artifact, which becomes the Ibis Stick, and its effects are a 30% damage boost to Special 1, a 30% damage boost to Special 2, 20% power generation increase, and the Evolved ability, which is a 10% damage over time added on Special. And that's not me repeating the word twice, it says damage and then DOT.
Yes.
Yeah, it was last available in March of 2020, so we are still following the larger cycle as far as we are aware. We should be expecting the Brandished Ninjato for next week.
Yeah. So this was the original game-changing legendary gear.
It was the first good legendary gear.
Yeah, right, because I think Batmobile was the first, and Batmobile wasn't that great. And what was interesting, because it wasn't obvious from the description that the amount of damage over time is a percentage of the opponent's health, not the attacker's damage. So it is a great equalizer.
Yeah, it's especially great for single player where you can really be outmatched.
Yeah,
super heavily.
Yeah, it was one of the first gears, and there's still not many that boosts both Special 1 and Special 2. And then it's got Power Gen. Everything is perfectly in line with making or using this on your specialist. And I'm going to pimp some of our earlier videos again. So we've got some fun demos of bronze characters taking out boss Arkham Origins Batman. We had the bronze Nightwing on his own. We had Catwoman not really on her own. She needed a meat shield, but she was doing all the damage. And yeah, it's lot of fun. Pretty darn brilliant. And this was back in the time when Arkham Orange's Batman, the boss one, the effect on the fight was that the passives weren't working. And it's surprising how much you sort of just take the passive for granted as part of the character. When you lose it, it's
pretty rough.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, so there we go. And in the store, we have the character bundle Woman of Power for $26.99 Canadian, and that comes with Arkham Knight Harley Quinn, New 52 Wonder Woman. So it's not, it's not terrible.
It's not terrible, because New 52 Wonder Woman, I think, is really the anchor of any good Justice League team.
Yeah.
Great passive. Arkham Knight Harley Quinn is a good Arkham Knight character. Not as important to say Arkham Knight Batgirl, but she does make it interesting where there's so many characters that rely on tag-in to take advantage of Tanty Totem Master's Death Card to generate power for your specialist.
Yeah.
So
I think the main problem is just it's always the number of copies and the fact that they don't unlock.
Yeah.
So it's just hard to get them into a place where you can use them with everybody else if you're only spending money.
Right.
Which sort of defeats the purpose of spending money.
Right.
Yep. And we also have the Flash Earth 2 bundle for $26.99 Canadian. So that comes with, Flash Earth 2, Earth 2 Flash is how I like to say it. But and it comes with 100,000 credits. It's probably what next week's challenge is. It's not worth it. If you had to pick one, obviously you'd get the Woman in Power bundle for the same price.
Yeah, and I guess just pointing out, because a lot of people last week were hoping because the Arkham Asylum pack was in that somehow an Arkham character was going to be in the challenge. That never happens. If it's going to be a single character package, and the other ones don't really have any bearing on the challenge coming up.
Yeah, so there we go. In our Survivor, we have the Fourth World Gear set until the 7th of October, 2020. Phantom Zone is finished. Fight 62, as always, is still busted. Last weekend's breakthrough was Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, and Martian Manhunter.
Just as you expected.
Expected, yep.
Yep.
And so based on the schedule, this weekend will be Hawk Girl, Green Lantern, and Lobo.
Yeah. There's a link in the description to a Reddit thread from Devlin16 that goes over the complete breakthrough cycle. And I guess that brings us to the current glitches. Spoiler alert, nothing's changed, but if you want to see every working glitch explained in a video, it's part of the playlist that you can reach by clicking the I in the top right corner of this video. We are Android only, so we can only confirm these glitches for Android.
But we will be mentioning stuff for iOS when we've heard on other people. We just can't personally vouch for them.
And they are. I mean, it's funny. We've been getting a few questions lately about this, but those videos are tutorials on how to do it properly. What to watch out for, the steps that are actually important. So, yeah, you don't really need to ask us. The videos actually go into way more detail.
Yeah. So starting out with the not working glitches, these are things that at one point worked, but you could no longer do. So this is some stuff that people might be looking for or wanting to do that they can't right now. There's nothing for power credits that we are willing to endorse. On Season 6, Episode 9 of our P&Q and CNA&T, we talk about a glitch that is working for power credits that we aren't willing to endorse and the reasons why, but we don't need to talk about it here because we're not going to tell you how to do it. If you really want, I'm sure you can find it online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The main danger is getting your account suspended. Glitch for getting repeated multiplayer season rewards is not working. The glitch to get them early is not working in a way that's exploitable to your benefit. And when Phantom Zone is around, there's no glitch to get through it quickly, although we do have a strategy video on that.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get to the working glitches.
So the glitch to let you play Phantom Zone repeatedly was still working, not relevant right now. We mentioned that alongside the challenge reset method that requires Google Play Cloud Save, which is still working and confirmed on the current John Stewart Green Lantern challenge. We mentioned them together because if you're doing one, you're doing both, and we don't want people accidentally resetting their Phantom Zone crystal progress
when it comes around, through. Yeah. So it's easy to forget, right? Because you keep on doing challenge reset over. I remember when the first time I learned it, I was doing the Apocalypse challenge reset, and I did it dozens of times. It felt like hundreds.
Carpal tunnel.
Repetitive strain injury. But then you get into that habit, you might forget when the Phantom Zone is back that you're actually going to reset the progress on that.
Yeah, so it's always good to give yourself a 2-second check. Do I have crystal progress that I want to reset? And right now, your answer would be firm no.
Yeah. And some people have mentioned that on Android 10, they're having trouble because they need to re-download more than 1 gig of data when they clear app data. So possible solution, it's in the description from viewer 10 May Kakde. And yeah, you can read that if you want about certain files that you could move over into a different part of your phone and then move it back so you don't have to re-download it.
Android 11 also might treat stuff differently. We're not sure.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. So there we go. So the breakthrough glitch to let you play... Oh, sorry. Before we move on to that, for iOS users, in the description we have a comment from viewer Jonathan Yang on how to do the reset on iOS if you want to try that. But getting back to what I was saying, the breakthrough glitch to let you play it repeatedly is still working. And the airplane mode / refund glitch is also still working. That's good for packs with random drops. And last laugh tickets doesn't work in Phantom Zone because that requires an internet connection, but it's anything that you don't need an internet connection to redeem.
Yeah. Time shifting still works in Android for unlimited survivor play and energy recharges. Again, remember, bring your cooldown clock back to normal before you are finished doing the glitch. Only because I think it's been responsible, not doing it properly has been responsible for people messing up the appearance of the challenge. And that's it for working glitches.
Yeah. And in between not working and working glitches, just the promotion glitch where you can promote characters that are still locked has not worked for so long now. It feels like it's been years. I don't know exactly how long. It's been at least a year.
Couple.
Yeah, but there is no way of doing it, but it's never been tested and failed. When we first discovered it, when it got sort of, air quotes, patched out, was them removing the conditions to do it and not actually just fixing whatever it was that let it happen.
Well, there are times where it would be, the conditions would be right for one day.
Yeah, and then it would work very briefly. Yeah, so our assumption is still that they haven't fixed it, the cowards, and they're just hiding away the ability for us to do it from us. But we are remaining vigilant, and we keep it in the list just in case. So if you ever see the conditions, again, you can refresh yourself on the video, and we'll be ready for the day if it ever comes.
Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
So a big thank you to our patrons on Patreon, and that is Consul Peasant and Edwoon at the top tier last word, Mohammed Albshaiti at the Your Message Here tier, Shawn Farrell, Daniel Simonson, Aaron Maule, Michael DeVries, Brandon C., Irvin Ruiz, and Eddydoo, who are supporting us on the credited level, and Chris Wolff, Scarlet, Dani, Awesomegamer 241, Pavu RS, and Gavin Mallott at the gratitude level.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for your support, and thanks so much to all of you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Komoda!